What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Yeah!
Break muna
Hello,
UAAP.
hello, hello, hello.
Pero kami, laban pa rin.
Exactly. Sinabi mo na, Maui, wala tayong UAAP this week, pero meron pa rin tayong Boleros episode para sa mga listeners natin and subscribers. Hindi tumitigil ang basketball for us. If you're a long time listener, you know this because even after the UAAP season, we do weekly episodes of talking about UAAP topics. So if you're a new subscriber, that's something to look out for, I think, for the coming months after the season. At kung bago kang subscriber, you should watch some of our classic episodes. Siguro, fan favorite also is yung team draft natin, di ba? We drafted like some of the best players in the past of each UAAP team. Just check out those episodes sa playlist namin. Habang, bored ka or may long holiday ka this week, pwede ka manood ng mga older episodes. But today, we're doing a fan favorite topic or segment. We're doing ballers versus boleros. Ballers and boleros. For the week, for the past week, since we haven't really talked about a lot of the games lately, we're doing a sort of like a recap episode, doing our ballers and boleros. Let's start with boleros. I think ito medyo hot topic to this week. Feel ko marami kayong mga boleros this week. Let's start with you, Gab. Sino ang una mong bolero for the week?
My first Bolero of the week, Maui mentioned him yesterday, has to be Chris Kuhn of Ateneo. As much as it hurts me to mention that name, mention an Atenean as a Bolero of the week, he has to be a Bolero of the week. He laid an egg yesterday against UP. 0 points. Despite how many minutes did he play?
30 plus. He played 30 plus minutes.
He played 30 plus minutes. Ayun, played 31 minutes, most on the team. How can you get how can you lay an egg in 31 minutes and you have the ball almost every possession you get the ball? For me, it's just a lack of aggressiveness. I do feel that he was trying to be aggressive at times, but there were all the times that he was a bit passive. There were times that I thought he could have attacked more, tried to draw fouls, but he chose to when the pick was set, he chose to pass it off or whatnot. And he doesn't have to score, no? I mean, maybe just drive to the basket, get kick outs, and get drop-off passes for throw drop-off passes maybe for Obasa or Kai Balungay, but he would just had such a bad game yesterday. And this was not just a one-off thing. Also against FEU, that wasn't one of his best games. Well, despite scoring in double digit, I felt like again he was passive. He can't be passive in this team. He has to be aggressive. He has to be the guy. He has to run the offense. He has to be the offense at times. There are a lot of times everyone knows this. Ateneo runs the shot clock down to the wire for most of the game, and yesterday it fell mostly on Jared Brown to make a play. And as much as Jared Brown did an admirable job of doing that, you cannot. That's not Jared Brown's role. It can't be Jared Brown's role. It's supposed to be Chris Kuhn. This is the role that I think Coach Stab wants him to take. This is the role the whole Ateneo community wants him to get, and he's proven he just doesn't have it yet. Also, it's a kudos also to the UP defense. No? I think they did a good job covering him also. But if you're a great offensive player, you can't just sit back and allow yourself to be covered. I think if you're aggressive, you'll allow the defense to make more gambles. You'll allow the defense to get more fouls, and that I think that will open you up. No. But yeah, Chris Kuhn, I think you have all the skills. I mean, we've seen, and the frustrating part to me is we've seen this from Chris Kuhn. We've seen him be aggressive. We've seen him uh, take on that role of being the guy on this Ateneo team. And just there are times na he just doesn't do it. So I think part of the inconsistency of Ateneo is the inconsistency also of Chris Kuhn, the guy who's tasked by Coach Tab just to carry the load, to carry a lot of ball handling, to carry a lot of playmaking. So, yeah, as much as yung Atenista tayo, we have to make an Atenean a Bolero of the week.
I have to agree, Jack.
Maui.
Definitely, I have to
Maui.
agree that Chris Kuhn should be named a Bolero of the week. Scoring 0 points is unacceptable for him in Kai Balungay. I think si Kai Balungay also probably is an honorable mention or has to be part of it. We haven't seen a dominant Kai Balungay since probably the Lasal game during the first round. He has not been as good as advertised, in my opinion. He was a beast nung summer leagues. I think he averaged around 18 points and 9 rebounds during the preseason. It's the reason why me included him as probably a dark horse MVP candidate. But he's having an underwhelming season. He's posting numbers actually similar to numbers he posted nung season 85. And with the added usage, his efficiency has definitely dipped. I'm sure a lot of Ateneans, a lot of people have been frustrated with Kai Balungay's shot selection. Sometimes he just settles for the jump shot, the corner threes of those picks. I think he has to be more aggressive. I think Kuhn and Balungay has to be more aggressive in every game. They have to be consistently good for Ateneo to win. I mean, they can lose to any team if any of them are not sick. It was actually, for me, it was actually crazy that Ateneo was still in the game despite the game of those two yesterday. Si Balungay could have easily had a 2-point game if he didn't score a few points in the fourth quarter. But if you were to ask me, my number one Bolero of the week is definitely has to be Jerome Lastimosa in the Adamson front office coaching staff. It's crazy. It's crazy that we see articles coming out right now that Jerome Lastimosa decided to play. It's crazy that we see articles right now that Jerome Lastimosa is even deciding to forgo or even delay further yung surgery niya just so we can sing their song, sing their school hymn after the games. This is not your normal ankle sprain. This is not your normal injury. This used to be a career-threatening injury. It continues to plague different athletes, different professional athletes, even in the highest levels. If you watch the NBA, players such as Derrick Rose have struggled to recover from an ACL tear because it can lead to more injuries to both of your lower extremities. But the scary part is if Jerome Lastimosa continues to delay this, he's already 25 years old. If this takes a year, then he will be already 26 years old. I can't imagine probably a foreign institution, probably in the B League or Korea, willing to take a gamble from a player who just recovered from an ACL injury. Because let's face it, Jerome Lastimosa is a point guard, a small point guard, a point guard who actually depends on his lateral movements and quickness. So yeah, I think it's irresponsible that Adamson has not provided Jerome with the correct direction, guidance in this matter. All schools should prioritize the well-being of their athletes before yung performance nila as a student, as an athlete. As a matter of fact, they're student athletes. Student comes first. So it's crazy to me what's happening with the Jerome Lastimosa injury. You gotta wonder what will happen to his career after this. Baka MPBL na lang bigla si Jerome Lastimosa. That would really be a head scratcher. Sam?
Yeah, good point, Maui. No, for our listeners out there, I think we've mentioned it in previous episodes. You experience having an ACL injury, so you sort of know how hard it is also to rehab and recover. So this is coming from someone that has experienced it. I ang galing nyo because I had those two also listed as my bolero. So number one, I had Adamson. Nasulat dito. Adamson / Jerome Lastimosa. What happened last Wednesday, it has to be, listed as a bolero of the week because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And again, we sort of talked about this. The way they handled it, parang recently lang yung pag-announce ng news, 'di ba? So it took them so much time before they could even like give us an update, but we already knew kasi may mga tweets na from like reporters and writers, whatever. And for Jerome, tama ka, Maui. Basically, Jerome needs to think about his future. He's also raising a family, 'di ba? He's supporting his family. So we want at the end of the day, we want what's best for him. And we know na athletes, especially basketball players, they don't have a long shelf life, no? When playing in parang peaking in their career. So yung athletic peak nila very short. And you mentioned he's 25. So he should do what's best for him. But siya bahala kung gusto niya talaga yun. Gab, I also listed Ateneo. You guys mentioned Kai and Kun. So no need to talk about that. Uh, for me, Ateneo in general is also a bolero. Again, as I mentioned, coming from 2 straight wins 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 8 days, 10 days ago, 2 straight losses. Now out of the final four spot. But my bolero of the week is actually, so it's perfect that you guys mentioned the two. My bolero of the week is actually NU. NU because uh, they're losing a lot of key players due to injury. And it's the timing is also not good. Biggest loss so far is definitely Steve Nash Enriquez. I think Maui, you were the one who mentioned out for a month based on the report. So there is a chance maybe he makes it to the final four or even the finals if they make it to the finals. But what are the chances that Steve Nash will be 100% by then? We're not sure. I think the loss to Lasal, Manansala didn't play. Humamoy didn't play. They already lost who's the big guy that they lost,
Padrones.
hindi si De Los Reyes.
Padrones.
Padrones. So, NU has been hit with the injury bug. And it's sort of the same injury bug that Lasal experienced last year where all of their like starters started going missing due to injuries. And well, if it continues, then it's going to be very difficult for NU to keep the number 2 spot because LaSalle is on a streak right now and they're very close, diba? Because LaSalle beat them, LaSalle NU has 2 losses, LaSalle has 3 losses. So not because I'm putting Enyo as a bolero, but not because of anything they did, but because of the timing of all these injuries. I think they are the most injured team right now. And you can see from the Lasal game, they could really use at least Steve Nash there, diba? Or even Manansala. It wasn't that competitive, yung NU Lasal game. So hopefully they figure out a way. Alam naman natin si Coach Jeff Napa will always make do with what he has. But NU was clearly the number 2 team for the longest time. For the whole first round, they were clearly the number 2 team. After that LaSalle game and after all the injuries, now that number 2 spot is in question for NU. And actually, if you look at last season, this is exactly what happened to them. Not the injuries, but they were at the number 2 slot for a time and then they started losing and lost that twice to beat advantage. So I have to mention NU being a bolero for this week for all the injuries that they're experiencing. Okay? Gab?
Yep. Ako, I had them as my runner up, and not just losing players. They lost against LaSalle, the team right behind them in the
In
standings,
a blowout.
and
In a blowout.
Yep, in a
blowout.
blowout,
Exactly.
and they have
Wasn't
yet to
even.
face UP. So, I think they're in danger of losing that twice to beat advantage, which is crucial. I think that's a very big advantage, especially if the top three is gonna be LaSalle at at number three, and then if you go back to number three and then you face LaSalle twice, that's not looking good for NU. And, whew, but this is the race that we want to see. This is the jockeying for position that we want to see in the UAP. It makes it more exciting. But NU is in danger, man, with all these injuries. Tama naman si Sam.
Okay, let's go to our ballers of the week. Let's go. Let's think positive this time. I want to start with you this time, Maui. Sino ang baller of the week mo? Give me one.
Yeah, I think definitely my baller of the week has to be Kevin Kiambao. With the injuries of Nelly, the injuries of Phillips, Kevin Kiambao has been that one constant for LaSalle. He is the number one player in the MVP race by a huge margin. I mentioned this to you guys before we went on air. Despite us not really agreeing with the style, the statistical method of the UAAP, I still think that Kevin Kiambao has definitely put himself in front of the race. LaSalle fighting for that final four slot has definitely helped his case. Putting up a triple-double, the first triple-double since CJ Cansillo's triple-double in his rookie year also helps. I think Kevin Kiambao is the engine that LaSalle needs to really keep it running. He has definitely helped the breakout of Raven Cortez. That's something I'm looking at. I think everyone's looking at that to the point that people were actually thinking baka si Mike Phillips was put in the doghouse. But no, guys. Si Phillips has been injured the past two games. But yeah, Raven Cortez breaking out because of Kevin Kiambao. I think a ton of Raven Cortez baskets come from nasty passes from Kevin Kiambao. Another player that I have to mention, since LaSalle is really on the rise, is definitely Jonel Policarpio. I think Jonel Policarpio is a player that was hyped a lot nung preseason, and it's warranted now. During the first round, he was very inconsistent. It's to be expected for a rookie. But during the second round, he has really broken out. You can see yung change in demeanor. I think that LaSalle has finally turned the corner. I don't want to jinx them. Baka nang-jinx na naman ako kasi I always say that Ateneo has maybe
Sure ka?
turned
I
the
was gonna
corner.
ask, sure ka ba dyan,
Yeah.
Maui? Di na naman yung
Baka
turn
magalit
the
yung
corner mo
LaSalle
eh.
fans sa'yo, ha?
Ito na naman
Magalit
tayo
LaSalle fans.
sa turn the corner. It has been this season, every time I say that a team has turned the corner, the reverse has happened after a few games. This has been prevalent with my calls for Ateneo after big wins. But yeah, I think this Lasal team has really proven. I think it's justified that Coach Topex is their coach. Finally, they're getting big wins. I think yun yung biggest problem nila nung first round. They couldn't close out against us so-called top teams. I'm saying so-called because Ateneo is in danger of making the final four. We used to classify them as a part of that top brass. But yeah, LaSalle definitely beating NU has given them the momentum they need to have a very big second round and potentially steal the twice to beat advantage from NU. And I think Kevin Kiambao deserves all the credit. I think one of the comments actually nung if you were the coach episode namin, please check that out also, is one of the our subscribers commented that if he were the coach of LaSalle, if he were Coach Topex Robinson, he will do everything in his power to make sure that Kevin Kiambao plays another year. I think that if Kevin Kiambao closes out this season as strong as he has been this past 9 games, he will not be at LaSalle next season. That's something I have to call this early. I think if he clocks down that MVP, then maybe we can see him in the B League or at the KBL at the very least. I think that's warranted. The development of Kevin Tiambao's game has been amazing. But I hope if he gets picked up by a pro team that the development continues. What's good kasi with Lasal is that he has the trust of the coaching staff, and he's been given resources. I think he's been given a strength and conditioning coach. He's been given a private chef. So yeah, definitely Lasal has done everything that they can to improve Kevin Tiambo's career. So yeah, if I were to name baller of the week, actually of the season, definitely it would be Kevin Tiambao. He is definitely the MVP of Lasal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jumping on that baller Maui, because I also had Lasal as my baller of the week. Uh, uh with that convincing win, and ever since losing to UP, basically they've been on a hot streak. But the player that I wanted, obviously Kevin Cambao has been incredible, so you've talked about him, but you mentioned the player that I really wanted to highlight, and we've talked about him in the previous episodes. It has to be Raven Cortez for me. I've been a big fan of him ever since. I really like how he contributes on both ends of the floor, how he plays both ends of the floor. And I looked at the box score before yung breakout game niya. Remember, we were talking about this, Maui. Ikaw nga nagsabi, Raven Cortez breakout game. I think that was against UE 3 games ago. The games prior to that, he didn't even play. He didn't even log a single second. Yung against UP and I think it was against NU yung isa, but in the previous games, he didn't even play. If he played, he would probably play because of someone got into foul trouble or whatever. But ever since his breakout game against UE, he's been averaging about at least 13 minutes, scoring double digits. Of first, yung breakout game niya, he had 18 points, 5 boards in 13 minutes. The following game, he had 13 points, 5 boards. The last one was 9.7 rebounds. So he's been really good and very consistent for LaSalle the past few games. So I have to give him credit. I have to call him a baller of the week. And I think it's no surprise that when he started performing and he started playing, LaSalle has also been on a win streak. Again, Maui, I think you mentioned it. It really starts with KQ, but I think Raven Cortez has been amazing for LaSalle, and I expect him to be playing heavy minutes or crucial minutes at least for the remainder of the season. He should get the playing time. Gab.
Well, I did have Coach Topex Robinson as one of my ballers of the week. You guys, both of you guys mentioned Lasal, and I just want to give praise to Coach Topex. I gave him shit a few weeks ago. I did gave him tons of shit for not adjusting to UP zone. I called him. I was name I called him, but I was in doubt whether he was the right coach for the job, and I'm a fan of Coach Topex, as both of you know. But I think it took balls to make roster decisions and to sit players down, to give minutes to other players in favor of others who are playing better. I mean, that takes a lot of balls. Honestly, especially if you're sitting down. I don't want to say a proven player like Manuel, but a veteran player like Joaquin Manuel. uh, that takes a lot of balls, and it takes a lot of communication with players. It takes a lot of trust also from the players that you coach for you to say na, hey, we're gonna put more of your minutes to this guy, or we're gonna sit you down on the bench more, diba? It's not an easy decision to make, and I think Coach Topex Coach Topex has that. You has that trust yung from his players. So kudos to him. My original baller of the week, as my dog continues barking. My original baller of the week has to be Adamson. Now, we had them as the Bolero because they did did an unspeakable thing by playing Jerome Lastimosa, but they did win yesterday and climb up to 4 in the final 4 standings. I honestly, kung if something like that happened na injure yung parang main guy nyo, just coming back from an injury, out for the season, this one game, and getting blown out by UP, they could have easily folded, diba?
Not just the main
Uh,
guy, he's the heart and soul of Adamson.
yep, he's the heart and soul of the community, not just the team, the whole community. He's like their patron saint, if that's possible. uh, but yeah, for me, it took a lot. Yesterday was a character win for them. It wasn't an easy win by any chance. They almost blew it actually in the fourth. FEU Yung did make a run, but they kept steady and pulled out the win. And as I said, for a team to go through something like that, something that devastating, it's easy to fold. It's easy to just say, wala na mangyayari sa atin for this season. Jerome's not gonna come back. But kudos also to Coach Nash for keeping the team focused, for keeping the team together and pulling out the win. Now they have a legit shot at making the Final Four. Whether or not they make it to the finals, highly unlikely, in my opinion. But at least they're fighting, and they're still playing together. They're still playing well. They're still sharing the ball and playing the way they have been playing the whole season. And that Ateneo-Adamson matchup now looks like a must-watch game because yung palakihan ng bird, sino mas malaking bird? It's really gonna happen now with
Classic
Adamson versus
UAAP ano yan, Gab.
Ateneo.
Palaki yan ng bird.
Oh, yung palakihan talaga ng bird for this season. I didn't think that would be the storyline coming into season 86, an Ateneo versus Adamson battle, must watch game, Ateneo versus Adamson. But now we're gonna have it, and praises to Coach Natch yung and to Adamson. They kept it together and they pulled out the win. Happy for them, despite the loss of Jerome.
So, what a twist, no? Adamson was a bolero but also a bowler of the week. Kakaiba din tong Adamson. Good bounce back game yesterday. I think it went under the radar because the game happened before the Ateneo-UP game. So, lahat tayo, yun yung mindset natin. Yun yung tinitingnan natin. But that was a crucial win for Adamson also. I think I didn't get to watch because I was at the Ateneo-UP game. But I think FEU tried to come back. But Adamson pulled away eventually. So, that's it for our episode of Ballers
Teka.
versus Boleros.
Sam.
Maui, may pahabol ka.
Baka maano tayo eh. We have to also say that despite having that special episode for Ateneo-UP, we have to say that UP is definitely a baller and Jerry Abadiano. We have to give credit to even the team that is really favored to win the title. I mean, sabi nga nila, they broke the Araneta curse for UP yesterday. I think they have a curse with versus Ateneo's Araneta. I think so. But before that, we have to give a shout out lang to UP. If you want more details on why we think that they are also a bowler to win, you should watch our last episode. We definitely covered most of what happened during the Ateneo-UP game. Yun lang.
Oo nga. Actually, nakalimutan ko na yun. But Jerry Abadiano, if I were to zoom in on a specific player, what a week for Jerry Abadiano. Gab, may pahabol ka before we go? Baka may gusto ka rin ihabol.
Wala naman. I did have Raven Cortez also, but you guys mentioned him also. I do hope, though, that when Mike Phillips comes back to the lineup, I do hope that they keep the minutes to Raven Cortez and not display a Bright Nuanco, Mike Phillips rotation at center. Because honestly, he's played much better than Bright Noanko. And he's a better offensive player and he's a better outlet for KQU on those pick and rolls. I've said this in the past. So hopefully, he's played himself into the rotation ahead of Bright Noanko. I think it will serve Lasal better. They've definitely played better with him. So yeah, Raven Cortez, man, get this guy more minutes.
Okay, that's it for today's episode. Stay tuned this week because we will have another episode that we will be recording right after this. Pero antayin nyo na lang kung kailan namin re-release. Okay? Don't forget, comment down below sino yung baller or bolero nyo for the week. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, share it with your friends. We'll see you again next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.